Welcome to another episode of Jazz Piano Fridays Season 1. In this season, we're studying 4-note rootless voicings. If you'd like instant access to the entire season right now, you can go to mdex.com and purchase the course. Let's get started. Lesson 8, B major. This is the key signature for B major. Let's start by playing the scale. Make sure you know the scale really well before moving on. Now, let's look at the 7th chords in the progression. The roots in this progression are all diatonic to the key, except for the last chord, the sub 5 of 2, D7 in B major, which is used to go back to the first chord, the 2 minor 7, C sharp minor 7. Remember, this chord's root is a half step above its target. So if we play the B major scale following the circle of fifths and starting on the 2, C sharp, we get the roots shown in this progression. The last root is just a half step above the 2, C sharp, or you can think of it as a tritone away from the previous chord, the 6. So it's a good idea to play the roots in this order on your left hand a few times. All of the chords are diatonic to the key, except for the 2, 5 of 6 and the sub 5. And yes, the 2 of 6 is the same as the 7 minor 7 flat 5, which is diatonic, but in this context, it functions as the 2 of 6. And in B major, that's an A sharp minor 7 flat 5. So the 5 of 6, D sharp 7, is the first chord that needs an accidental. Notice how the root D, D sharp, is diatonic, but instead of being a minor 7 chord, we're actually playing a dominant chord, the 5, 7 of 6, D sharp 7. All of these chords together give us two crucial cadences, a 2-5-1 in major, C sharp minor 7, F sharp 7, and B major 7, and also a 2-5-1 in minor, A sharp minor 7 flat 5, D sharp 7, and G sharp minor 7. And this is great since we're going to be practicing quite a few essential cadences often found in jazz, all in one exercise. So now, let's play all these 7th chords in root position in order. I recommend doing it first with both hands, playing the root on the left and the chord voicings on the right, and then try it again with just the voicings on the left hand. Now it's time to study the substitutions to turn these 7th chords into rootless voicings. Remember, with all of these chords, we will be substituting the root with a 9th. And on dominant chords, we will also be swapping out the 5th with the 13th. So for the C sharp minor 7, we only need to substitute the root, C sharp, with the 9th, D sharp. Play the original followed by the rootless a few times in a row. The F sharp 7 is a dominant chord in major, and as you're going to see throughout this course, dominant chords require 2 substitutions, the root with the 9th and the 5th with the 13th. So we substitute the root F sharp with the 9th G sharp, and we also substitute the 5th C sharp with the 13th D sharp. Let's play it. On the B major 7, we're going to use the same root to 9th substitution as before. So the root B simply becomes the 9th C sharp. E major 7 is also a root with the 9th substitution. E turns into F sharp. So A sharp minor 7 flat 5 is a minor 7 flat 5 chord. And as with all minor 7 flat 5 chords in this course, we're going to keep it as is. No substitutions needed. And this is because of the limited options available to us when it comes to minor 7 flat 5 chords. The D sharp 7, the 5 of 6, is a dominant chord that targets a minor chord. And the substitutions for dominant chords in minor are slightly different than that of dominant chords in major. Instead of using a ninth, we're going to use a sharp ninth. And instead of using the 13th, we're going to use a flat 13th. So first, we need to substitute the root D sharp with a ninth, which is E double sharp. In this book, we've avoided using double accidentals or any other weird enharmonics. So in the chart, you're going to see an F sharp instead of an E double sharp. So the root D sharp turns into an F sharp, which could be perceived as a minor third above the root. So as a tip moving forward, you can think of the sharp 9 as essentially the same as the flat 3. You can think of these rootless voicings of dominant chords that target minor as being both major and minor at the same time. Next, we also need to substitute the 5th A sharp with the flat 13th B. Play the original followed by the rootless a couple of times. Get used to the sound of this chord also. Next is the G sharp minor 7. Again, substitute the root G sharp with the ninth A sharp. Lastly, the D7. And although this dominant chord targets a minor chord, C sharp minor 7, it's really functioning as a sub 5, and therefore it must be paired with the Lydian flat 7 scale. So when you see a sub 5, always use the substitution for dominant chords that target major chords. That is the root D with the ninth E and the 5th A with the 13th B. Practice shifting from the original 7th chords to the rootless voicing until you understand these substitutions. I suggest to not waste your time playing this line as is. Although it's an interesting exercise, the benefits are few. One exercise that you can practice, however, is to play each voicing in all of the inversions. For example, if we take the voicing for C sharp minor 7, we can play F sharp 7 is B major 7, E major 7, A sharp minor 7 flat 5, D sharp 7, G sharp minor 7, and D7. So down here, you see the two possible starting points, voicing 1 and voicing 2. These are the two most effective inversions of the C sharp minor 7. We will always start playing the 2 minor 7 using one of these two inversions. And the best way to remember them is to look at the bottom note. One inversion has the flat 7 as the bottom note, and the other has the flat 3. And these are the guide tones. So for C sharp minor, one voicing sequence starts in this inversion with the flat 7, B, at the bottom. And the other starts here with the flat 3, E, at the bottom. Also, make sure that you're playing them in the correct octave. First, make sure you understand that there are two sets of voicings. The voicing 1 sequence, which starts here, and the voicing 2 sequence, which starts here. Remember, you can always tap on any chord to view the snapshot of that chord being played on the piano. And you can just use the back to score button to go back. Let's take a look at the first 2-5-1 in the voicing 1 sequence. So let's tap on the C sharp minor chord to view the picture. Now you can go to the next page to see the next chord in the progression. And the walking man icon shows you where you are in the progression at all times. So from the C sharp minor 7 to the F sharp 7, only one note moves. The flat 7 in C sharp minor 7 B moves to the 3 of the F sharp 7 A sharp, and the rest of the notes stay fixed. If we move one more page forward, we get to B major 7. The only note that stays fixed is the note that just previously moved, because the 3 of F sharp 7 turns into the major 7 of B major 7. The other 3 notes move down diatonically. If we go back to the score and choose the voicing 2 sequence, we see the C sharp minor 7 played in the voicing 2 inversion. And if we move back and forth between the next page and this one, we see the same exact movement. Only one note moves. The flat 7 in C sharp minor 7, B, moves to the 3 of F sharp 7, A sharp. Same exact voice leading. And when we move from F sharp 7 to B major 7, the only common tone is again the A sharp, and the rest of the notes move downward diatonically. Depending on how proficient you are at reading music notation, you can just use the score to practice these voicings and the voice leading. Or you have the option to jump to the snapshots and study the voice leading between the chords that way. The important thing is that you always think in 4 voices and how they're moving from voicing to voicing. Don't rush it. Make sure you understand how these voices move before practicing using the workout. All right, so now that we've laid out the process for going about this, it's time for you to get to work doing it. Don't forget, we've included a workout to help you with this process. And while you're doing this, pay close attention to the common tones, how the voice leading works, which notes move and which ones stay fixed. And furthermore, pay particular attention to how these notes function within the chord. Are they guide tones? Is it the 7th? Is it the 9th? It's this perspective that's really going to take your playing to the next level. Don't forget, come back Monday and check out the supplemental workout that goes with today's lesson. Or you can go to mdex.com right now and get the whole course right away.